Welcome to Spectrum News at 4, coming to you live from Oyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. My name is Ofonono Joseph. Let's take a look at the headlines. Federal government UK to update MOU on migration management, others. Court fixes April 22 for El-Rufai's arraignment. In other stories, Trump sets record for longest State of the Union address. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more after this timeout. Good afternoon. Many thanks for joining us on the news at this hour. We begin the news at 4 from the national scene where President Bola Tinubu has appointed Assistant Inspector General of Police Tunji Disu as the Acting Inspector General of Police. This followed the resignation of Kayode Egbetokun as the IGP. A statement issued by his presidential spokesman, Bayo Onanuga, noted that in view of the current security challenges confronting the nation and acting in accordance with extant laws and legal guidance, President Tinubu approved the appointment of Assistant Inspector General of Police Tunji Disu to serve as Acting Inspector General of Police with immediate effect. Until his appointment, Disu served as Assistant Inspector General in charge of the Force Criminal Investigation Department, FCID Annex, Alagbon, Lagos, where he was promoted to the rank of Assistant Inspector General of Police last year. Away from that, the federal government has responded to a joint report by two United States House committees on alleged Christian persecution in Nigeria, describing the development as an opportunity for deeper engagement and broader cooperation between both countries. In a statement issued by the Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, the government said it had taken note of the recommendations contained in the report submitted on Monday to the White House by the House Foreign Affairs Committee and the House Appropriations Committee, while acknowledging that parts of the country continue to grapple with serious security challenges, including terrorism, banditry, and communal clashes. The federal government stressed that the violence confronting Nigeria is not rooted in state policy or religious bias. The government expressed deep concern over the loss of lives and destruction of property caused by criminal elements, extending sympathies to victims and their families, regardless of faith, ethnicity, or religion. Reaffirming Nigeria's constitutional commitment to religious freedom, the government noted that the Constitution guarantees freedom of religion and worship for all citizens and assures equal protection under the law. In the meantime, the federal government and the United Kingdom UK are set to deepen partnerships that would ensure that the existing Memorandum of Understanding MOU between the two countries on migration management and returns are updated. The government said the MOU would facilitate efficient, lawful and humane migration processes and strengthen security cooperation and expand economic opportunities for Nigeria and the UK. Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, disclosed this in Abuja during a meeting with the British High Commissioner to Nigeria, Dr. Richard Montgomery. The minister emphasized that migration management remained a shared responsibility and a critical pillar of Nigeria's strategic security partnership with the United Kingdom. A statement signed by the head of press and public relations unit in the ministry, Mary Ali, noted that both countries are currently working to finalize an updated Memorandum of Understanding (MOU) on migration and returns. From the red chambers, the Senate has cautioned the Southeast Development Commission (SEDC) to focus on delivering meaningful development to the people and avoid turning the agency into an avenue for siphoning public funds. The warning came during a budget defense session where the Commission's management team appeared before the Senate Committee on Southeast Development Commission to present its proposed 140 billion naira 2026 budget. Chairman of the committee, R.G. Kali, charged the commission to remain committed to addressing the long-standing needs of communities across the region, stressing that the agency must not repeat the mistakes that have plagued similar development bodies in the past. According to him, the commission was created following the recognition of decades of neglect and hardship experienced in the Southeast by President Bola Tinubu, noting that the committee would exercise strict oversight on the Commission's activities, particularly in the implementation of projects to ensure tangible benefits for the people. To the judiciary, Justice Joyce Abdul Malik of the Federal High Court in Abuja has adjourned the case against former Kaduna State Governor Nasser El-Rufai to April 23 for arraignment. The DSS filed a 3-count charge against him over the alleged unlawful interception of communications, following comments he made during a television interview. The court had earlier fixed today for the former governor's arraignment, but the former governor was absent during the proceedings. Counsel for the DSS, Oluwole Aladedoyin, informed the court that the former governor is still in the custody of the Independent Courage Practices and Other Related Offences Commission, ICPC, where he is under investigation for alleged misappropriation of funds. This prompted the judge to adjourn the case to April 23 for arraignment. Back here, Akwa Ibom State Governor Pastor Moino yesterday said that the implementation of the Treasury Single Account (TSA) in the state will boost revenue growth and serve as a strategic tool to drive holistic development, enhance transparency, and strengthen accountability across ministries, departments, and agencies (MDAs). Speaking during an engagement with revenue officers and key stakeholders at the Banquet Hall, Government House, Uyo, the governor explained that the TSA will help shore up internally generated revenue, eliminate leakages, and provide empirical data to support planning and other development initiatives. Highlighting gains from the ongoing system reforms, Governor reviewed that over 2,000 unaccredited workers had been uncovered within the state civil service through a digital verification exercise driven by the Ministry of Science and Digital Economy, and appreciated the commissioner for helping to drive the vision.
That's why now at the federal government they've introduced the TSA, and so we felt, why don't we do something that let all of us understand how much we can really generate as a state? Most states are doing very well, and so the TSA came into effect from 1st of January. We must work together, and we didn't believe when we thankfully they are here to, and we thank you for honoring this invitation. We can all work together and collect. Let's collect and say, okay, we help so that there is no multiple taxation. We now say, okay, what is it that goes to the local government? We are going to program the system that once we agree, we don't have to come to the government for approval. So that at the end of the month, or whatever time you have agreed, once they run it up, that's the figure, it kicks in and go on, because we also don't want to cripple the system. All other accounts, accounting general, close all other accounts that they are either to opened and don't give approval to open any other account apart from the one that the state has opened. It is to help the state. It is to shore up our revenue base and to make it decent. To make it decent. You and I can see what we have brought. You and I can see it. Whether it's from internal revenue or all of us, we can see it and we can know what it is.
In his opening remarks, the Commissioner for Finance, Almond Bob, described the TSA initiative as a major public financial management reform under the present administration. He explained that the engagement was designed to address stakeholders' concerns and agree on modalities for the remittance of operational funds to revenue-generating MDAs and institutions.
To consolidate the state resources in order to further actualize more public financial management, we could recall that in line with the internationally accepted best practice, the state government commenced the full operation of TSA, Treasury Single Account of internally generated revenue of Akwa Ibom State from 1st of January. In the course of the implementation of the TSA in the state, a number of concerns has been raised, and the Treasury Single Account Implementation Committee reviewed the concerns raised by the stakeholders and handled a number of them. However, today's engagement will also provide another opportunity for stakeholders with new concerns to make them known, or if there is any issue that was unsatisfactorily resolved. I therefore urge all of us to take this engagement serious and utilize the opportunity to be more acquainted with the working of TSA in the state through Aqua Remit. Once again, I thank you and welcome you all to this engagement with His Excellency.
Also speaking, the Deputy Speaker of the Akwa Ibom State House of Assembly, Kufrebasi Didem, the Chairman of the House Committee on Finance and Appropriation, Dr. Itorobong Etam, and the State Accountant General, Pastor Uwim Andresian, applauded the Governor for institutionalizing a sustainable digital revenue system that would endure beyond his tenure. They expressed satisfaction with the innovation and assured stakeholders that anticipated bottlenecks had been resolved to guarantee a seamless transition. Government House correspondent Jane Uwa reports that high point of the event was a detailed presentation on the state's remittance platform, Aqua Remit, by the Commissioner for Science and Digital Economy, Dr. Frank Akpayong, outlining operational guidelines and compliance expectations under the TSA framework. We move now to Africa, where Zimbabwe has frozen exports of raw minerals and lithium concentrate. The Mines Ministry said today, tightening control over materials key to clean energy technologies and defense industries. The ministry said the ban takes immediate effect, covers all raw minerals already in transit, and will remain in place until further notice. Securing access to rare earths and other strategic minerals has become a global priority, given their role in smartphones, green energy systems, military equipment, and many other goods. This has prompted many producing nations to tighten controls and plug leaks in their supply chains. Still in Africa, the president of Madagascar, Michael Randrianirina, is visiting his French counterpart, Emmanuel Macron, in Paris, a visit that could mark the beginning of a thaw in diplomatic relations. According to the Élysée, discussions will include the provision of humanitarian aid to Madagascar in the wake of the devastating cyclones that battered the island. This comes days after Madagascar's president headed to Russia, where the two firmed up cooperation on defense and energy. Reports say the trips have sparked concerns among some residents on the island as they question their benefits. On the foreign scene, a Ukrainian drone attack on a fertilizer plant in Russia's western Smolensk region killed 7 people and wounded 10 others. The plant just outside the Russian town of Disapproves lies ahead 290 kilometers, that is 180 miles from the Ukrainian border. Unverified images published on social media purported to show the plant in flames early Wednesday, with columns of smoke billowing into the night sky. Russia's investigative committee, which probes major crimes, said later 7 people were killed, updating a previous toll in what would be one of the deadliest attacks on a Russian industrial site of the 4-year war. Still on the foreign scene, U.S. President Donald Trump delivered the longest State of the Union address on record today, speaking for approximately 1 hour and 48 minutes before Congress. According to data compiled by the American Presidency Project, the speech was the longest since record-keeping began in 1964. The previous record of about 1 hour and 29 minutes was set by former President Bill Clinton during his 2000 address. Still to come in the news. Chelsea, West Ham sanctioned over January clash at Stamford Bridge. Stay tuned for details of these stories and more after this break. Welcome back. Many thanks for staying tuned. Now let's conclude on the rest of our news stories. On our business news, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has cut the interest rate by 50 basis points to 26.50% from 27%. The CBN Governor, Olayemi Cardoso, announced this in a press briefing after its 304th Monetary Policy Committee meeting. Cardoso said the decision was unanimously agreed upon by all members of MPC. He said the committee retained the cash reserve ratio, CRR, at 45% for commercial banks and 16% for merchant banks, while the 75% CRR on non-TSA public sector deposits was equally maintained. Cardoso added that the liquidity ratio was retained at 30% and the standing facilities corridor was adjusted to plus 50/minus 450 basis points around the monetary policy rate. Still talking business, Dangote Petroleum Refinery and Petrochemicals will supply between 60 and 65 million liters of premium motor spirit (PMS) daily to meet national demand, effectively positioning the country for sustained fuel self-sufficiency. The firm will export up to 20 million liters in surplus. The president of Dangote Group, Aliko Dangote, disclosed the development in Lagos, confirming that a structured off-take agreement has been concluded with selected marketers to ensure nationwide distribution and stem supply instability. Reports say Nigeria's average daily petrol consumption stands at between 50 and 60 million liters. The refinery's output, therefore, exceeds current domestic requirements, marking a decisive break from decades of fuel import dependence and intermittent scarcity. In health news, the First Lady, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has officially launched the Flow with Confidence Sanitary Pad Initiative, a landmark program aimed at improving menstrual health and hygiene among schoolgirls across the country. Speaking during the launch in Umuahia, the Abia State capital, The First Lady said the core objective of the initiative is to empower schoolgirls through education and menstrual hygiene, intended to promote confidence and dignity. The First Lady, who was represented by the wife of the Abia State Governor, Priscilla Oti, stressed, that no girl should ever be forced to miss school because she cannot afford sanitary materials. She noted that the program was carefully designed for the well-being of the girl child across the Federation, with particular emphasis on girls in rural communities. In the world of sports, Nigeria's Super Falcons have settled down in Yaoundé ahead of their double-header friendlies against the indomitable Lionesses of Cameroon. The African champions landed in Cameroon's capital today. Head coach Justin Madugu, his assistants, other backroom members, as well as two home-based players, Anderlin Ngwechi and Fatima Oloku, made the trip from Abuja. Meanwhile, the foreign-based professionals are expected to start arriving camp today. Nigeria will take on their eternal rivals in the first friendly on Saturday. The second friendly will also hold in Yaoundé next week, Tuesday. Still talking sports, Chelsea and West Ham United have been fined £325,000 and £300,000 respectively, following a mass confrontation during their January meeting in the Premier League. The sanctions were confirmed after both clubs admitted breaching FA rules relating to improper and provocative conduct. According to a statement from the Football Association, Chelsea failed to ensure their players refrained from behaving in an improper and/or provocative manner in the 95th minute, while West Ham were charged for not preventing improper, provocative, and/or violent conduct at the same moment. An independent regulatory commission described the episode as a serious incident involving multiple Chelsea players. The panel also noted that both sides had previous breaches under FA Rule E20.1, which prohibits behavior deemed improper, offensive, violent, threatening, abusive, indecent, insulting, or provocative. Those prior offenses were considered when determining the fines. And lastly, on our news this hour, the federal government has responded to calls from Nigerians to investigate the alleged child sexual abuse at singer Simi's mother's daycare center. This came after Simi's old post on X surfaced on social media amid the rape allegation by a TikTok user identified as Mirabel. Recall that the singer had raised concerns over the growing sexual assault culture in the country. While explaining that almost every woman she knows are victims of sexual assault, she recommended that rapists should be castrated. And that's all we have for you at this time. Kindly follow us on all our social media handles and subscribe to our YouTube channel, all of which you can find on our website, spectrumtvlive.ng. You have been watching Spectrum News at 4. My name is Ofonono Joseph. Good afternoon.